An exotic world where men wear skirts and women smoke cigars. This is Burma, where nothing is quite what it seems. You see, this is also Burma, land of fear.
There still are very many people in Burma who are very frightened. They have to get over their fear.
This delicate yet fearing woman is Aung San Suu Kyi. In Burma, she's a symbol of hope, an icon of unflinching courage. And to stay here, as you'll see, she's had to make an agonizing choice.
You sacrificed a lot of things. Has it been worth the fight?
Oh, yes. And besides, I don't look upon it as a sacrifice. It's a choice. If you choose to do something, then you shouldn't say it's a sacrifice, because nobody forced you to do it.
Internationally, she's considered a legitimate leader of Burma. But here, she lives in a prison without bars, the virtual captive of a military dictatorship the U.S. government calls brutal and repressive. A regime accused of slaughtering civilians and jailing an estimated 1,000 political prisoners. Until recently, many of the universities in Burma, once hotbeds of unrest, were closed. For most, the internet is illegal. Even owning a cell phone can mean jail time.
You can be imprisoned for having a fax machine. You can be imprisoned for saying the wrong thing against the regime.
You can be imprisoned for doing the right thing. Even acting in accordance with the law can be a crime in the eyes of the authorities if they don't agree with what you're doing.
No foreign journalist can officially interview Aung San Suu Kyi. Many who've tried have been interrogated, strip-searched, and deported. So we went to Burma as tourists. Reaching her was like a scene from a secret agent movie. There were decoy cars, phone calls in code, hidden tapes. Only this was all too real.
We brought only amateur video cameras. Still, we were followed and photographed. And everywhere we looked, the army was there. We met Aung San Suu Kyi at a secret location. Her phone lines are cut. She can't receive mail. The military intelligence keeps her under constant surveillance.
You know, they've closed off the road to my house. There are barricades on either side of my garden. So I can't really go out without their knowing. And every time I go out, I'm followed by 2 cars and 2 motorbikes. They're outside now, sitting and waiting for me to come out.
Are they just trying to wear you down mentally?
If they're trying to do that, they're not succeeding.
It's this unshakable spirit that has given hope to millions of her countrymen. It's a sense of purpose instilled from birth. Her father was General Aung San, the founder of modern Burma. He had grand dreams of democracy, but he was assassinated when Aung San Suu Kyi was only 2. Her mother was a diplomat known for her dedication to public service, which she taught to her children. At first, it seemed their daughter had chosen to lead a private, quiet life. She fell in love with an Englishman, Michael Arras, a professor. They married in 1972 and eventually settled in England. The couple had 2 sons, Alexander and Kim. For 16 years, she was a wife and mother.
It was peaceful, it was academic, it was a family life, just a normal life where you are free to do what you want to do.
But one day, her quiet life would change forever with a phone call from Burma. Her mother had suffered a stroke. She returned home and found a country in turmoil. It was 1988. Millions of Burmese, led by students, took to the streets, calling for democracy. The regime cracked down hard, firing on crowds of protesters. Yuzana Kin was one of them.
We never thought that government would do that to us. We always believed that military is for us.
It's estimated that thousands of civilians were killed. Aung San Suu Kyi was swept up in the demonstrations. The lessons taught by her parents came flooding back. Then, with a speech remembering those who died, this wife and mother was transformed into political leader.
When I was watching at her and listening to her, my tears burst. I cried. I knew at once, yes, yes, this is the one that we can work with. This is the one that we can trust.
Millions were there to see the change, but for Aung San Suu Kyi, life didn't stand still. Soon, her family would have to return to England to resume work and school. She decided to stay behind. She couldn't have foreseen how long their separation would prove to be. In Burma, she helped launch a political rebellion. It would put her in great danger. In this true-life scene from the movie Beyond Rangoon, her first confrontation with government troops.
There was nobody who broke rank.
A guy saying, "Get out of the middle of the road or I'm going to shoot." Were you frightened?
You really don't have much time to be frightened on occasions like that. You have to think fast.
An officer and his line of men trained their guns on her and her group. She faced them down. But in 1989, the ruling generals clamped down. They sentenced Aung San Suu Kyi to house arrest.
I was supposed to have been a threat to the peace and security of the state, or words to that effect.
She was locked up, confined to her house and garden, guards posted at her front door.
They cut off my phone. They actually brought a pair of scissors and cut off the wires and carried my phone away.
Internal pressure and international scrutiny had prompted the regime to call a general election, their first. Aung San Suu Kyi's party won more than 80% of the vote, but the regime threw out the results. She wasn't released. Under house arrest, the weeks stretched into years.
I was not allowed out of the house at all, and nobody was allowed into the house to see me. I was completely cut off from the outside world.